Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all. Today we are continuing and hopefully completing the ROKR Seahorse Barque. Look at everything we've accomplished so far. Today we're going to be doing the masts, the sails, and hopefully the rigging, and finish this thing off. So how about we just get right back into the build? Alrighty, so here are the parts we're going to need to kick off step 8. This is building our very first mast. So we're going to start with F24 here in this orientation. And we're going to take F87 here and big slot, just kind of put them together just like this. Look at that. Now, what we're going to do is take F21 here, and we're going to slide this down right here through that center slot. There we go. All the way down and over the tops of these two pieces. There we go. All the way down like that. And then we're going to take F22 and we're going to put that on top as well. There we go. Beautiful. Now coming in from underneath, we're going to need these F61s. There's 2 of them. And yeah, okay. See if I can show you here. There are 2 slots here and here, and then this other slot right there. And this is going to fit into all of that. So let's go ahead and push those in. There you go, that's 1. And then you do the same on the other side. Beautiful, look at that. All right, now we're going to need F7 here. And that's going to, this slot is going to go on either side of this, but you got to feed it through this center slot right there. So let's see if we can't do that. There we go. Make sure that you center the top so that it fills the gap and is equidistant. But that looks beautiful. All right, next up, I'm going to take this piece. This is F25. And it's going to slot in here with the narrow end facing down. So, see if we can't get that in there. There we go, much like that. It'll help hold everything in place. And from there, we're going to take 2 of these F26s, and they're going to come up from the bottom through this slot. They're going to fit into these slots, and the angled pointy end is going to face the front of the mast. There we go, so it should look like that when you're done. Very, very nice. From there, we're going to take F20 here, and that's going to slide in from the top right here. All right, so it comes all the way down to there, just like that. Now, on these back 2 holes here, we're going to throw in F19. Beautiful, beautiful. And now, what we're going to do, we're going to take F27 here. We've got 2 of these F55s. They're going to push down into the smaller slots, just like this. Look at that. From here, we're going to bring it down, just like the other pieces. Just like that. And then we're going to take F62 and put it on top. This hole will be on the front. Bingo, just like that. And we'll finish off this phase with F57 again, right from the top. Look at that. Absolutely spectacular. And we have officially begun our journey to build our masts. All right, for this next phase, we're going to pull out F58 here. I'm going to put it onto this post here, just like so. Notice it's in the rear hole. Okay. F59 will go right on top. Again, rear hole. And F58, a second F58, will go right on top of that. And then we have F10, which will go into the front hole. And you want to go all the way down and make it flush with the bottom. Just like that. Now with that in place, what we're going to do is take one of these, we're going to take a Z7, one of the big ones here, and we're going to screw that in right here. I don't know if that's showing up, but there's a little screw hole right there. And we're going to screw it in like this. Now if you take a look, notice there's a straight end and an angled side. Okay, so if you flip it over, it's the same way. You want the straight side to be facing the front, and you'll just put one screw in there. Now I would recommend, making it tight, but not so tight it can't rotate, just in case for when we assemble this on the ship itself. Let me get one of these done. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so there it is. It's on there, nice and tight. However, there is just enough wiggle room so it can move, and we can adjust it if needed. Now do the same thing on the other side. Bingo, look at that. Now what we're going to do is exactly the same thing, but this time we're going to be using Z4s. And we're going to attach them up here on that hole. Wow. All right, mine actually just went in, but the idea being that this bottom rung is going to go into these 3 slots right here, 4 slots, excuse me. So you can tighten this one up all the way. Just like that. And we'll do the same on the other side. All right, look at that. And now what we're going to do is take 2 of these F60s. We're going to actually cover those slots. So it should go like this. Just like that. And again for the other side. There we go, look at that. All right, that phase is complete. Let's see what's next. All right, here's what we'll need for the next phase. We're gonna put this to the side. This is J7. Look at that beauty. We're gonna flip it upside down now. We're gonna take F1 and F2 here. F2 is the one with these tabs on it, and it will come in from the front, so I guess from underneath, depending on how you're holding it, and those tabs are going to go through those holes in the cloth. Okay, much like that. And then F1, make sure this little tab here is facing up, okay? And it'll come in, and those 4 tabs will go into the 4 holes through the center. All right, look at that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take F56 here. Note that this little slot on the bottom will be facing the bottom of the sail when we do this, and that big slot will line up with this slot on the sail. And we have F8 here, which will plug into it. There we go, just like that. All right. Now we're going to bring this out, and that little slot on there is going to go into that slot right there. All right, and we're going to bring this whole sail up, and it's going to basically push in right there. And you're left with this. Look at that. That looks wonderful, actually. I really like that. All right, now we're going to bring out J6 here and F3 and 4, and these are going to attach on the top the same way they did for the other piece. Just like this. And that's all we've got here for this phase, so let's move on to the next one, and I bet we'll be finishing that off. All right, not a lot of pieces here. One will be another F8, and that will go into the assembly we just made, just like the last one. However, this time, it's going to plug directly into the mast. So this time, it will plug into this slot right here. All right, that is actually much harder to do than it seems. And then the top will connect the same way as last time. We got the little hook there, little hook there. So let's get that in. Boom, look at that. All right, and now we have another F8. We got F5, F6, and this is J12. And it's going to assemble exactly the same way as this one. And that tab will plug right in there. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, look at this beauty. Okay, now we'll bring out our ship here. The base of the mast here will plug in to the front assembly, and the rigging will come along onto these on either side. So let's get that done. All right, and there we go. Look at that. So we've got our rigging in here, mast is in there, and we have begun our journey with the sails. Oh, I can't wait to see what's next. All right, we're about to kick off step 9 here, but the problem is F9 is exactly the same as F8. Slightly different part numbers, but they assemble exactly the same way. So rather than make you watch me go through all of that again, what I'll do is I'll list off the part numbers for each phase, then I'll time lapse the build and show you the final result, go to the next phase, so on and so forth, to get through step 9. So here are the parts we're going to need for the first phase. We got F18, F19, F20, 21, 22, 23. This is F25, 2 F26, 2 F27. This is F55, F57, 2 F61s, F62, and F88. So let me go ahead and get this together. All right, there we go. Phase 1 complete. We'll move on to phase 2. All right, here are the parts for phase 2. We have F11, 2 F58s, 1 F59, 2 F60s. We have 2 Z1s, 2 Z6s, and 4 screws. And there we are with the end of phase 2. Awesome. Alrighty, here are all the pieces we're going to need for phases 3 and 4 of step 9. And again, it's all going to assemble exactly the same way. We have 3 F8s. We have F12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. We have F56. We have J9, J10, and J8. So let's go ahead and get this together. And there we go. It's really hard to show this on camera, but we now have our main mast assembled and placed on the model. This is wonderful. Just note, when you're putting in this piece here, just make sure the flag is facing forward, just like I've got it here. Absolutely incredible. Let's see what's next. Alrighty, so here are all the pieces we need for step 10, all phases. It's going to be very similar, but there are a few differences. So let's go through this. We're going to kick things off with F54 and F72. Now notice F72 has this little offshoot tab here. Make sure that is on the starboard side of the assembly, okay? Then we're going to take F77, and that will slide on just like all the rest. And we will follow that up with F78. All right, now we have 2 F61s that will come in underneath, just like before. All right, look at that. All right, now we've got F76, which will come through the center here. Bingo. All right. F25 here, which will go in that little gap. Perfect. 2 F26s coming in from underneath, just like before. This is all very familiar. All right, now we'll follow that up with F75, F19 on the back here. Beautiful. Now we've got F71, 2 F27s into the small holes, and then it will go on top just like that. And we will follow that up with F74 and F79. Look at that, wonderful. Now we've got 2 Z5s, and those will go on the lower end here, screwed in just like before. All right, followed up with 2 Z3s to go on the top edge here, just like before. All right. Now we've got 2 F73s to lock in the upper rigging. There we go. So far so good, right? Here's where things get fun. Okay, we're going to take This is F85 and this is F86. And this is J2. F85 is going to come over here, and all those tabs will go in the slots in the cloth. F86 will come on here. But now, it's important to note, this must be facing down, and then there's a little slit here. That's going to be for rigging later. That has to go towards the rear of this assembly. Look at that. Now, remember that tab I showcased before? Right there? Well, that is where that slot there is going to go. So we're going to slide this in behind the rigging and push that tab into this slot. There we go. It was harder to get in than I thought it was going to be. Wow. All right. Now we're going to take F83 and F84. That's these two right here. And there's not going to be a sail between them. We're just going to push them together. Just like this. And then this will plug in right there. Just like that. Now we have J11. We have F8 and F81 and 82, and that will connect here and here just like all of the other sails. So let's get that done. There we go. The rear mast and sails are complete. We're going to bring out our ship again. This will go in here, and the rigging will attach right here. So let's go ahead and get that in. All right. There we go. The rear sails and rigging are complete. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. Only one more mast and sail to go before we start with the hard part. Alrighty, here are all the pieces we need to finish off step 11. I'm going to start with B29 here. We're going to get F67, and this time we're going to place this tab into the forward hole, making sure that the clip here is facing forward as well. And then we're going to take F70, and that will also go underneath. Just like that. From here, we're going to take F69. That's this one. And this larger hole here will face the rear, and it'll go on top, just like this. Then F66. And looks like the round hole. It's hard to tell. Looks like the roundish hole. Yeah, there we go. Or square, I guess. We'll go there. And F65 right above it. Followed by F68. Make sure the flag is facing forward. Just like this. Now, forgot to bring my screws out. And for that matter, I forgot to get the rigging. I'm in such a rush. I'm forgetting some important stuff. So basically we're going to be taking Z2. We're going to need two of them. And we'll attach them just as we did all of the rest. So let me go ahead and get that done. Okay, I got it in, but I have never been so frustrated with a simple screw in my life. Because they don't give you actual holes this time, it's those slots, much like we did with the hull planks. Well, they're in, but what a frustrating experience that was. But now we can take F73 and we'll put those in here, just like that. And now we're going to take J1, F8, F64, and F80, and we're going to attach this to the front just like we would with all of the other sails. All right, and there we go. Little miniature one. Now there's a little hole in the bottom here, and that will go on the peg right here on the foremast, or whatever this is called. The spear of the ship. Sorry y'all, I don't have all the terminology down. I'm not a sailor, sadly. But there it is. Nice. All right, and that, my friends, was the final mast and sail. And now we're going to get to the fun part. All right, here are the pieces we're going to need to kickstart the next section. We're going to build 2 more assemblies, kind of like we did at the end of the last video. We're going to start with C37 here, and we're going to take 2 of these little C36s, and those will go into the center, just like that. Now we're going to take 2 of these B5s, and they're going to go on the outer holes from the top all the way through, just like that. And now you want to build a second one. All right, there we go. Now, one of these you can place on a ship right now. That is going to go into 2 holes that are way up here on the foredeck. There you go, look at that. Now for this one, you're going to start with this. You're gonna need to cut a 900 millimeter length of this string, and one end of the string you're gonna want to tie around the center here. You can use whatever knot you want. Don't leave too much excess, but it should go right around the middle. Alright, so here's what I've got. I got a little slip knot in there, tied nice and secure around the center. Now we're going to bring this out, and there's 2 little holes in here. Yep, that's where these pegs are going to go. Alright, should look like that. And now we're going to start on the real fun part. Okay, I've opted for a little bit of a wider angle on this because this is going to be really difficult to do, especially with the camera in the way. So we'll walk you through what I plan to do, then I'll do it, and I'll show you the result. First, we're going to take our string here. We're going to wrap it around here, so come port over the top in that little notch, then down on the starboard side and into that little slot right there. okay? Then it's going to come up to here, and I don't know if I can show this on camera. Let me see if I can get this to focus. There you go. You can see there's a couple little holes here. Okay, we're going to go into the port slot and all the way through, and it should come out the front. So let me do that part and I'll be right back. Okay, look at that. That's looking good so far. Now what we're going to do is bring it down to, where's my tweezers? Here we go. To here. Okay, and there's a little slot right there. Okay, cable will go through there, then underneath the platform and over the sail to come into this section. All right, there we go. Look at that. Very, very nice. Next up, we're going to take our string here and one of these J3s. Now you notice there's a series of holes along the J3, the top. You're basically going to sew it in. So in one, out the next, in next, so on and so forth, all the way down the line. Okay, so should look a little something like that. Focus, there we go. Should look a little something like that. Okay, don't worry about that hole in the bottom just yet. We'll get to it. Now, for this little assembly here that we just put in, that's going to come, the string's going to come through here, underneath, and then up through the top. And then it's going to come up and hook into this slot right there. All right, look at that. So we've got our string coming through our sail, coming down onto that assembly. Then it's coming back up and through to here. Next up, we're going to put the next J3 on the string. That's this puppy. And it's going to go right in here before coming up and between these two sails and over here to hook into this little slot right there. So let's get that done. All right, there we go. There's our second sail coming on up and through and into there. Now at this point, if you wish, you can cut off the excess. Make sure you leave about 20 millimeters so that it doesn't like slip through. You can tie a knot, do whatever you want to secure it. But that cutting line is done. Let's see what's next. Alrighty, for this next section, you're going to need a 1,250 millimeter length of string. And on one end, you're going to want to tie a little knot. Now it can be any knot you want, though to be fair, right here in the instructions they give a great description of the kind of knot you'll want to use. Now we're going to come up to here, and you'll notice there's that little slot there, and we're going to put it in there and then push it through the hole on the port side. Then it'll come up here, and underneath the platform you're going to want to string it around. Just come in on port, bring it to starboard, or excuse me, come in on starboard, bring it to port, string it around, and then come over to here, and we'll do the same thing going towards the front. All right, so coming from here on up over to the top of this mast and down through the front. Now what we're going to want to do is bring it towards this front mast here, and it's going to go underneath the platform on the starboard side, kind of over the sail, inside the rigging of course, back inside the rigging. Then it's going to come down on the port side. You can see there's this little slot right here that it's going to hook into before coming back up. All right, there we go, coming on down, in through there, down on the port side, and then into that slot there. Next up, we're going to be taking J5, that is the longer one, and we're going to string it just like we did the other sails. Now this is a little bit of an off angle. The shorter end over here is actually going to go towards the sails, while this longer end, the point, will go towards the front of the ship. So let's go ahead and get that in. All right, look at that. All right, now we're going to take the string, and it's going to come way up here to the second tier platform. And like in the rear, there's a couple of slots between the wood there that this will go through. Then it will come over here. There's a little slot here that you can put it in, down to another slot right here, and then under and back out through there. All right, look at that. Probably bring this sail down a little more. Yeah, looks good for now. Coming up through, into there, down to here, and back around to the front. Now, for the final touches here, we're going to go ahead and string it through J4 here. Okay, just like we've done all the other sails. And then it'll come up, and right there you can see another slot in this mast here. So it'll come down on the starboard side into the slot and wrap around. Alrighty, there we go. The final sail is in place. Now, the instructions do not say a thing about tying a knot here or wrapping it twice, but I went ahead and wrapped it twice anyway and crossed it just a little bit for security. And that completes that phase. We still have a lot of rigging left to go. All right, this next section is going to be interesting. Basically, you're going to want to take an 1100 millimeter string, okay? And right at the midpoint of the string, you want to tie it around here, okay? Then you're going to bring it down, and you're going to want to pop this off, because on this last, well, next to last one, you're going to want to string the cable through and then back up on the other side, and then it'll come back up, and you can see a little slot here where it will attach. And then the reason you want the midpoint is because the other side of the string, you're going to do the same thing on the other side, and both ends will meet right there. So let me do that. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so there you go. Now you could probably cut some of this excess off. I wouldn't cut too much. Maybe tie a knot there if you want to. But you can see that we've got it wrapped around the mast up here, and it comes all the way down, and it goes through this, around this tab here. I've put the rigging back in place afterwards to trap it in place, then back up and through that little slot. Now down here, we're actually done taking the rigging off, so you can use a D22, one on each side, to pop in there and hold all that in place. All right, look at that. Very nice. Now we've got another 1100 millimeter string, and we're going to do the same thing on the central mast. The only real difference is instead of coming all the way down here, what it's really going to do is wrap around here into the center post there. And then it'll come up, excuse me, back into that slot there. And then we're going to use these F40s to hold it in place down here. So other than that, it's just the same exact procedure. So let me go ahead and get that done. All right, there we go. Got them going right through there, all the way down, and trapped right there. Gorgeous. Alrighty, for this next bit, we got some more wood. We got 2 more D22s. Basically, everything I do on this side, we're gonna replicate on the other. So every piece has 2 pieces. We get these D22s, they're gonna go here on this rear set of rigging. Then F41 will go and trap this rigging in place. F33 will go on the single angled hole on this second level balcony. And F38 here will fill in the gap for the rest of the balcony. All right, so we put in the little trap here, the little trap right up there, and then the railing for this balcony here. And we're going to repeat all of that for the other side. All right, and there we go. Both port and starboard sides are complete. Now, this you could technically call done, but not quite. Sadly, the instructions are less than helpful moving forward. As you can see right here, it basically says, do it however you want. It does give some references as to where a lot more cabling will go, but it's do it however you want. So here's what I'm going to try to do, and when I'm done I will bring it back. I'm going to try and get the mast, or the cross mast, I don't even know what that's called, but you can see there's little holes in them right on the ends. I'm going to try and get those tied to the railing, get all 3 of these tied in as well. And you see these sails, they've got a hole in the bottom, right? Those can be tied to the railing as well for stabilization. Got all of these cross sails that'll tie into the railing, and then the holes on these as well. And of course, both sides for the masts. So I'm gonna see what I can do about that, and hopefully they've given me enough string to do it, and then I'll be back. And here it is, the fully assembled model, including the DIY stuff. So, to showcase what I did, basically I used the same knot they list in the instructions, and I've got it here and here and on every one of these masts. Now for this rear mast, you can see it comes down to right here. For the central mast, all of them, all 3, all come in and they tie in here. Then you come over here, you've got your 2 sails, the little holes there. Okay, the lower one is actually coming in right here. The upper one, as well as the foremast, are all coming in right here. So you can see all of the foremast rigging lines as well. And then you come here, you got the foresails, and those are all coming down to right here. And on the flip side, it's exactly the same. So with that done, we now have the fully assembled model. And look at how beautiful this is. This is incredible. Well done, ROKR. And of course, we have our little extra little piece here. Don't know what to do. Maybe give it away as a gift or something, but that's pretty cool too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I enjoyed building it. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day.